This light from WeLight is tiny, it's portable, and it's battery operated, but is it any good? Hey everyone, I'm Scott Jeske. Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be reviewing the Ninja 200 from WeLight. WeLight is not paying me specifically to do this review. However, they did send me the light for free and they did ask me to do this review. And I will, as always, do my best to be as honest about this light as possible because I don't want to lead any of you astray. So thank you, WeLight, for sending the light over to me to take a look at. So first off, let's talk about the build quality on this thing. It's made of a pretty dense plastic. I actually initially thought it was aluminum, and it feels pretty solid and secure. I've seen some other users talk about how it felt a little cheap, but I have some other plastic lights and this feels a little more metallic. And the top and bottom of it very much feel like an aluminum. The front comes with this mini Bowens mount that I believe is proprietary to WeLight. They do have an adapter, but it also comes with its own flash bracket, which is nice. It's compact, it's travelable, but more on that later. So what is in the bag? The body of the light itself, a protection cap, a 55-degree reflector, a bracket with dual mounting spigots, an AC/DC adapter with a cable for adapting to the battery mounting plate, a 3X socket adapter for AC/DC adapter, a carrying bag with straps, a user manual, and a warranty card. I've said this before, but it's hard to find a light bag, and usually the cost of them outweighs getting it individually anyway, so it's always a plus when you can find a light that comes with a good bag. The bag is also very compact. It's not too tall or too cube-like, so it would fit nicely within a suitcase, and it slips really well onto a shelf if you are using it in your studio. The modes on this light are CCT, which is just the standard mode for choosing correlated color. So it's basically just your tungsten to daylight range of continuous light. There is a software update mode for updating the firmware. Now, one puzzling thing is that the listed specs on this light are 2800 Kelvin to 8500 Kelvin. But if you turn the light on, it only goes to 6800 Kelvin. Now, on the app, you do have the option to go all the way up to 8500 Kelvin, but it's a bit odd. It doesn't feel like it's quite getting there. So that's a puzzling thing about the light. Still, 2800 Kelvin to 6500 Kelvin is a very broad range if you want to go very cool to very, very warm. The CRI and TCLI ratings on this light are 95, just high enough to be high quality, good color rendition. Now, if you look at the specs on the website, this light boasts a silent fan, and let me tell you, that is not the case at all. This is perhaps the most frustrating thing about this light. The fan right off the get-go is very loud. And you can hear it here. Now you do have the option to cycle through the fan modes from high to medium to low. This is nice because I've seen past reviews where it's just fan on, fan off, and I had heard that if the fan was off, the light had issues with overheating. I ran this light for 2 hours on batteries, didn't have any overheating issues. I'm guessing it's because the fan kept it cool throughout the duration, but the ability to reduce from high to low is nice. It seems like WeLight was listening and they did a firmware update on the light for the current model, but I do find it frustrating that this light is so loud. And to me, that's why I don't see this light as a studio light unless you're doing photography or unless the light is on the background or being used as a kicker and is far enough away to where it cannot be heard. Now, if you were doing something like a musical or shooting MOS, this wouldn't be an issue. If the light is in the distance, outside for instance, not an issue. But for studios, for this kind of setup, for using it as a key light in your YouTube studio, I think that's going to present some issues for you. The light has 19 wireless channels. It has 6 remote groups. It has 12 special effects. I'll be totally honest, I was really underwhelmed by these effects. I think in general with bicolor lights, effects aren't that useful anyway because, you know, for instance, you can't do a normal police light. You can't do fireworks or anything that would signify to the viewer that the color is emulating something. It's just some variation of flickering or fading or dimming between daylight and tungsten. And with this light, unfortunately, it's kind of difficult to even tell which mode you're looking at it if you're not looking at the remote. This is not a deal breaker at all, but if effects are really important to you in a bicolor light, this might not be the light. Now the light does have dual power supply, AC/DC, and battery plugins for 2 FP970 batteries or FP series batteries. The battery mount is removable, and I actually really like the design of this. It's on the side of the light, it's screw mounted, so it's on there very securely. The only thing is you don't want to lose the connector cable, otherwise you're going to have trouble. The battery indicator also has a switch between in and out. It's basically showing you what you are inputting from the batteries. So if one of your batteries is at 56%, it's going to indicate that on the screen. And if the other one's at 100, it will indicate that as well. And then when you switch it to out, it's going to show you your overall output of battery power, which is in this case 79%. So it's averaging the two. This is where things also get strange, and I don't quite know what to make of this. Right now, if you look at the screen, it's saying low 10% battery, and even the text is kind of cutting off. I don't know if that's an error or if it's trying to say that my light was at 10%. It's confusing though. Now the light does have stepless dimming, which is controlled by the dial or by the app or the remote. And then let's talk about the overall output or lux of this light. At 0.5 meters, which is about 19.5 inches, we're getting about 13,310 lux. And with the reflector, we are getting 118,320 lux at 19.5 inches. This is a little bit of a confusing measurement because lights list their lux at different distances. So sometimes with the light, they'll say at 3 meters or at 3 feet or what have you. So it would be nice if there was a standardized measurement of that distance. Otherwise, you have to manually compare them. Needless to say, this light is extremely bright. Here you can see the light up against the Sirui C60B, both lights at 10%, 20%, 50%, and 100%, both using their respective reflectors. The reflector uses a WeLight mini port with a Bowens mount adapter. It's nice that it comes with a Bowens mount adapter, and I'm sure you could buy one that's higher quality. My issue here is that it's a little bit plasticky and feels kind of cheap, which is not terribly reassuring when you're mounting softboxes, etc. Having said that, I was able to mount a smaller softbox with no problem. It didn't feel like it was flimsy or having issues. It's nice that it comes with that, but I do kind of wish that they just had a Bowens mount. The trade-off is that you do get a very small, compact design here, and it is a very concentrated light, so that's the trade-off, but you're losing sort of the standardized appeal of a Bowens mount. Here are some outdoor test shots that I did just to show you how bright the light is and how it can be used in ambient situations. Now, there is a very clear warning on the user manual not to use this light in any kind of weather, so I would be careful around that. It is not a weatherproof light. However, for these kinds of situations of shooting at night, shooting in ambient locations where the sound is not really all that important, I found the light to be very bright and very workable, and it's so light and so portable that this might be a really good run and gun solution for you if that's the kind of light that you're looking for. One thing you do want to watch out for is that if you're running this light off of batteries, the light will decrease at certain increments over the course of 2 hours. If you're using 2 FP970 batteries, the light lasted me 1 hour and 32 minutes, but the light will incrementally step down, which is a little bit annoying. So let's talk about the good of this light. Well, it's very compact, it's very bright. I can again think of a lot of use cases for it, like music video shoots, photography, weddings, run and gun projects where you don't need to be as reliant on sound. The overall build quality is good, it feels sturdy. The dual spigot mount is nice, no issues there. I didn't have any issues with the app. It turned on instantly, it connected instantly, very responsive. I do wish they had increments of maybe like 10%, 20%, 50%, rather than having to dial in your exact output, but still no issues with the app. Another pro of this light is that the price is relatively low at the moment on B&H Photo. It's $167. However, at the Viltrox store, the light is still listed at $239.99, which in my opinion is too pricey for this light, especially with the competitors and where they're being priced. $167 is just beneath other competitors like the Amaran 60X or the Godox equivalent, so it is beating those on price, the compact design for sure. I think the bag does bring value to the light. The way the batteries mount, etc. It's still tight price-wise, and I think $240 is just too pricey for this light, especially with its quirks and its loud fan noise, which is what's leading me into the bad about this light. Obviously, the fan is just too loud. It's not really usable for this kind of setup unless, you know, you're overlaying music or what have you. The initial pricing of this light is too high. As I showed you before, the light can be a bit buggy and it's confusing as to what's going on with it. The Bowens adapter feels a little bit cheap, so there are definitely pros to the light. Again, its compact design, its brightness, its bag, but there are some significant cons. And so what is the silver lining and sort of the middle ground of this? Well, I will give credit to WeLight. I've done a lot of reading up on the light, and again, its fan used to just be essentially an on-off switch. It seems like they listened to their users and they updated the firmware to be low, medium, high. So I think that there's potential in that regard, that they are improving the light through firmware updates. That's a plus. I do think that it's a good sign that the price of the light has also dropped dramatically down to $167 for a lot of retailers. It seems to me like WeLight is listening and they're sort of reassessing the value of the light. So is this the light for you? I can't answer that definitively. Do I think there are good uses for the light? I do. I think that the light definitely can be useful in certain situations, depending on how you want to use it, for all the reasons I listed before. Is this a good studio light? No, I don't think so. Is it a light that I would recommend for overall use? Probably not, unfortunately. That being said, if you're looking for an affordable light that comes with a bag and you're not worried about fan noise or sound issues, then this light might be worth checking out. I think the tough thing with this light is a lot of other Viltrox products, like their lenses, are awesome, absolutely awesome. Couldn't speak more highly of them. But for me personally, the light failed to impress me in some pretty key areas. Thank you all for watching, and if you like what you saw, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the video, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks. Bye.